First off, I'd like to tell you guys that both of these stories were submitted by users on the subreddit Let's Not Meet. I will have the link to both of these in the description below. I was 15 and had a boyfriend who lived 8 miles away from my house. We used to sneak out and visit each other at night, but didn't have cars, so we'd walk. He'd walk to my house or I'd walk to his. One of these nights I had visited his place and was getting late, around 2 or 3, so I left. I started down the main road as usual and heard a car slow down behind me. I looked to my left and saw an older car pull up next to me. The guy looked young, well, older than me, but still in his 20s. He asked me if I wanted a ride. I said, "No thanks, I'm good." He asked again, and I thought about how I had just started my walk and how much farther I had to go, so I thought, fuck it. I jumped in the car, happy to skip the trek. First thing I noticed while inside was a strong scent of alcohol in the air. It was so strong. He was also staring at me so hard that he swerved and hit a ditch in the side of the road. "Watch it!" I yelled. I was a smart-ass teenager then. He just gave me a goofy, drunken smile. He was driving really slow too. Not sure why, but out of all the red flags that had presented themselves, it was his super slow driving that bothered me the most. I'm just going to stop here and remind you guys that I was a really naive 15-year-old. Up until this point, I was just annoyed with this dude, nothing more. I had told him to go straight on this road for a few miles when he slowly turned right into a small street. Immediately I said, "Dude, what the fuck are you doing? I said I lived that way." "We're going to my friend's house." I said, "Fuck no, take me home." He just ignored me and kept staring at me while driving super slow. I demanded that he stop the car, and he ignored me again. Pissed off now, I opened my door and jumped out of the moving car. I fell hard and got up and started walking away angrily. He was already out of his car and crossed my path. He clutched my arm so hard and pulled me to his car. He sat in the driver's seat and told me to crawl over him into the passenger seat. I pulled and yanked, but he was so strong that I couldn't move. This is finally when I started getting scared in the situation. He wasn't letting me go, and I was basically trying to kidnap me. A horrible feeling of dread washed over me. I was looking at the moon. It looked so big and beautiful. So many nights I had marveled at its beauty, and I felt like now it was bearing to witness my demise. I burst out crying. When I did, he reflexively loosened his grip on me, and I saw it as a chance to fucking run. I lived in a small town, so we had fields of orchards and crops between residential areas. I broke free from him and ran straight into a cornfield that was right off the road. He yelled at me to stop and started chasing me. The stalks were taller than me, so I ran in zigzags through them, trying to lose him. I lost a boot in the dirt. He was falling farther behind me. After the field ended, there was an abandoned house that sat right next to the road. I banged on the door, hoping that maybe I had only thought it was abandoned. There was no answer. Surrounding the house were flat fields and just the main road. I couldn't take any chances running through those because the moon was so bright that night. I was sure he would have seen me, so I climbed a huge tree in front of the house, so high, just hoping he wouldn't see me. He came out of the cornfields, and I could see him below, looking all around for me. I was so terrified, I would only cry as silently as I could, praying he wouldn't look up. After a while, he gave up and walked back to his car. I thought that was the end of it, but he got in his car and drove up and down the main road looking for me. I was up in the tree so long, I was getting physically tired. I couldn't believe how hard he was looking for me. Sometimes he would get out of the car and look deeper into areas off the road. Then he'd jump back in his car and go up and then down, really fast or really slow. After a few hours, he finally disappeared. 30 minutes passed without seeing his car, and I decided to head home. Again, because the moon was bright and the fields ahead were low, I literally low-crowd through them, scared shitless that he might show up, see me off the main road, and chase me again. When I got home, it was dawn, and I was shoeless and covered in dirt. Grateful to be home still. Needless to say, I never walked the street alone again at night. Number 2. Bit of a background of the last 25 minutes. I just got home from a reasonably big night. It's 4:30 a.m. and stinking hot in this part of Australia right now. I walked in the door and opened the fridge and was so happy to find 3 icy cold beers in the fridge. I take 2 of them and walk upstairs to bed to read and drink myself into a boozy sleep. First issue, the beers are not twist tops. They instead need a bottle opener. And after some sloppy drunken attempts at using the handle of the drawer of my bedside table, I head down backstairs to use an actual bottle opener. I turn on the kitchen lights, which are so bright that they make the space behind my eyes burn. I squint around to find the bottle opener, which I cannot find, so I use a solid edge of a large kitchen knife. It's a risky choice, but the bottle cap is now off the beer, and I'm happy. So I turn off the alien blinding kitchen light and head back upstairs. But something through the front window of my house that looks onto the street catches my eye. I stop at the bottom of the stairs, and all the hairs on my back of my neck and arms stand up. I turn my head slowly, and my eyes and brain are trying to make sense of what I'm looking at. It looks like a rain-drenched woman in a fancy white dress gazing at me through the window. Oh fuck, it actually is. I pause and take the longest inhale of my life. She's glaring at me like she hates me. She has mascara running down her face and is drenched from the rain. Her arms are extended, and she's leaning her head towards me like her body language is trying to say, "Look at me, look what you've done." I'm shitting bricks right now, but the rational side of my brain kicks in and I think, shit, is she okay? Does she need help? I slowly walk over to the window. Her gaze still locked onto mine. We are now literally within 1 meter of each other. I state loudly through the glass, "Are you okay? Do you need help? Is anyone with you?" Then it dawns on me. My gate is locked, and there's an 8-foot-high fence which is very difficult to climb. How did she get in? She doesn't respond to my inquiry. She just keeps that hateful look in her eyes. We stood there for about another 30 seconds, but I was looking around nervously, trying to make sense of this, and she was just glaring into my soul. Then she finally opened her mouth as to say something, finally. But it wasn't words that came out of her mouth. It was an insanely high-pitched meow. And then she starts clawing at the window with her novelty-sized fingernails. What the fuck? I'm frozen. I don't know what to do. She's clearly not well. Not well at all. Then in the background behind the fence, I see another woman, 20-something, dressed in a short black club dress with the glow of her phone lighting up her face. She sees the woman in white in my window and yells, "Michelle, you piss bitch. That's the wrong fucking house." The rain-soaked nightmare Catwoman eyes go from, "I hate you and I want to die," to, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry and embarrassed." And then she runs over the fence and impressively army commando flings herself over it. I can then hear a group of ladies pissing themselves laughing, saying how Jason's house is number 25, not 23, you fucking idiot. That poor guy is probably going to call the cops now. All I know is I'm so happy that I was on the receiving end of a misdirected prank, and I didn't have to be killed by a well-dressed hybrid cat demon woman. And now I have to go back down to the kitchen to open another beer, but I'm still too afraid. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have any other suggestions for me to read, or any other videos that you would like to see, please tell me.